On the program, Swedish Crown Princess visits to Nigeria expected to deepen 65-year-old relationship. Later on, 176 local government areas across 30 states and the FCT at risk of flooding. And on World Health Day, we highlight the urgent need to ramp up the effort to improve maternal and newborn health. Hi, I'm Ademola Lawrence, and this is live from Abuja. I should have taken you through the events that have shaped the week in Nigeria and across the world, from politics, news, entertainment, and sport. And of course, we begin with the program with a 3-day official visit of Our Royal Highness Crown Princess Victoria to Nigeria as part of the bid to enhance diplomatic and economic relations between Sweden and Nigeria. Describing the Crown Princess' visit to Nigeria as opening doors to deeper institutional relations and greater cultural exchange between both nations, Vice President Kashim Shettima noted that the visit was not only a continuation of dialogue but also a new chapter for both nations. The VP recalled his high-level engagement in Stockholm, the capital of Sweden, in October last year, when he represented President Bola Tinubu, pointing out that the visit marked a turning point in the bilateral relationship between both countries. And joining me live via Zoom is a global affairs analyst, Solomon Soja. Hello, good morning, Solomon. How are you doing?
Morning, my friend.
How is the weather in UK this morning?
Very bright and sunny. We love it like this.
That's interesting. Okay, let's just go into it. First, let me ask you, how do you think this visit of the Swedish princess will help enhance and, of course, stimulate the business-to-business collaboration and foster greater cultural exchange between Nigeria and Sweden?
Yeah, in many ways, and I am really happy about this collaboration or prospective collaboration, because you can see that in Nigeria we have very intelligent people, young, vibrant people that are very willing to work, hardworking people that are happy to do stuff, and very innovative as well. But at the same time, we lack the infrastructure, especially technological infrastructure, and things we can rely on Sweden for just as much as they can rely on us for, like the workforce, the intelligence, the brilliance, and the diversity we have in the country. So in many ways, we can have that relationship, especially because we share so much, we share so much values together. Like when we talk about like democracy, we talk about like different cultural practices we have across both countries. So I feel personally that a relationship like this is in the right direction because we can rely on ourselves. More businesses in Sweden can think about more opportunities in Nigeria where they can invest, and vice versa. Business people in Nigeria can also invest in Sweden, and we can do a lot of things together. We can have so much bilateral relationships, and we can strengthen that diplomatic relationship that would also foster good business growth across both countries.
Okay, so Nigeria and Sweden have a firm foundation of long-lasting bilateral relations. And of course, this is spanning for over 65 years. What do you think kept this relationship going, knowing fully well that you already mentioned that we both, of course, democracy is both on both sides, you know, so there seems to be some level of understanding how government and governance should be run on both countries. But deeper than that, in terms of economic, in terms of cultural, how do we both deepen these 65 years of relationship that we have over the years?
Yeah, as you rightly said, the relationship can be attributed to a few factors like what you've just mentioned, which is democracy, human rights, and also economic ties, like in trade and investment. We can also see that extending into like global issues. For example, climate change. We have the same thoughts around climate change and peacekeeping. And just like the Western world, Nigeria and Africa do a lot of peacekeeping, like across the continent. So in many ways, we're alike in how we think, how we do things, and how we operate. And I would say that in itself is one of the key factors that has kept this relationship for so long, for us up to 65 years, as we can see. And I imagine that we'll do a lot more, especially in today's age and time where we have technology taking every they've taken every space in our lives, like with the innovations today, like in AI and all this sort of stuff. So I imagine that in the near future, our
Okay, I think that Solomon is frozen. Okay, so but definitely, I will definitely get back to Solomon as we are able to get back to him. But this is a very vital point in Nigeria's history, and Nigeria needs to, the both countries rather, need to work in hand to make sure that things work well for both citizens. 65 years of relationship is not a joke. So definitely, Nigeria and Sweden must continue to foster that relationship. Okay, so Solomon, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you something. You know, we see these visits, official visits to countries. For example, the president visits France, the president visits Dubai, the president visits US. You see the other countries also visiting Nigeria. You know, it's good for the visits, but the fact is there seems to be the paperwork and not the groundwork. So, and the groundwork is not yielding what the paperwork is saying. So how do we transfer from that paperwork to groundwork so that people can actually feel the dividends of this governance that we want to see, both in Nigeria? Wow, okay. I'm very sure we'll get back to Solomon. But that's one of the issues that, you know, we'll face in this part of the country. Paperwork is different from the groundwork. So, but this time around, there needs to be more groundwork translating from the paperwork that has been done from both countries. Okay, Solomon, I heard you're back.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So I don't know what's happening with the service, the signal, but I just carry on talking anyway. But then I'll just go over what I said not too long ago.
Okay.
So what I was saying is, I would love to see this whole relationship come to life. I would love to see it physically implemented across the country. For example, personally, I would really, really want Abuja to be like the capital in the world for like remote working, for technological advancement. Yes, that's fact that we don't have the technological infrastructure, but at the same time, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have China, Sweden, the US, and so many European nations that already have this infrastructure already built, for instance, OpenAI or DeepSeek. But in Nigeria, Abuja especially, if that becomes like the hub where you can have smart people, intelligent people that are ready to work, hardworking people, innovative people that can bring life to this stuff, that would be a very simple way to put all these things to life, to get this whole implementation or ideas coming to life in the sense of we have the workforce and we can deliver excellent services for Western world with not too very high expenses. And that's the selling point, because we have brilliant people and our cost of living is not as high as in places like New York, London, or all these other places like Paris and Berlin. But we have the innovation, we have the intelligence, we have the education, we have the manpower, we have the willingness to do this work as people from Nigeria, especially people in Abuja.
Okay, so let's look at renewable energy, gender inclusion, agricultural innovation, and some others. Are some of the discussions that took center stage during our visit. What is your take on the importance of these areas in Nigeria at this time?
For renewable energy, very, very important. Energy in general, because you see, the problem in Nigeria, most times for business people, is the predictability. You can't tell when you have power, so that just drives the cost off the roof.
Exactly.
But if we understand, not necessarily consistent power all 24 hours. If business owners understand that, okay, we have power from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, and then they know they can power everything else with renewable energy from this time to this time, that would give a lot of predictability to your business. And then that means when you have certainty in a business, your business is better because you can bring your costs down. You can predict so many things. But with the epileptic nature of power right now, I would say renewable energy is just the way to go. And with the support and collaboration with Sweden or the Swedish government, that would give us a lot of steps ahead that we need as a country. and then for inclusion, gender equality, and all this stuff. I think in a very great way, this government particularly has really done so much in including people, especially gender-based inclusion. And however, I understand that there is more that can be done. We can do a lot better, but we can still give credit to the amount of inclusion that we can see in the government right now. But I come back again to renewable energy. That is like super important for businesses, and we need to put a lot of attention to that. Just to give a little bit of more certainty to businesses in Lagos, in Abuja. Just imagine UTC having a clear understanding that from 12 noon till 4 p.m. we have power. Imagine how much that would bring the cost down for like printing and production and so many stuff. And that's just a fraction of the advantage of what renewable energy can do to the country at large. Yeah,
I think I kind of agree with you. But how can we also harness the potential that comes with, partnership relationships like this in terms of technology, innovation, and all that? I know you spoke about technology, but it looks like we are not fully taking advantage of the partnership that we have with nations who are far ahead in technology. How do we begin to have, take advantage of this, relationship that we have? Now, Sweden is coming with these on board again. That, look like, it's all about talk with an action.
Personally, I would say for the youths in Nigeria, the youths, like, especially people in Abuja, like you and me, people from Abuja, we take a lot of advantage of technology because we know so much. We have access to the internet, so we read so much, we watch so much videos about this stuff. But at the same time, there's only so much you can do when you don't have the physical technology around you. You may know about it, you understand everything about, for instance, AI. Like you can set up AI to be self-reliant without any human intervention, to receive calls, to do all this stuff. But at the same time, if you don't have the facility or the infrastructure to power this, like electricity, consistent internet, that still limits the common man in Abuja, for instance. But if the government takes this step and allows these collaborators or prospective collaborators to come in with their companies, to come set data centers up, to come do so many things, to come in and do so many things and get things in place for young people to be able to exhibit their dynamism, that people can really benefit from this whole internet and this race to artificial intelligence and all this stuff. I believe personally, because for me, for you, I know how much you love technology. So I understand that if we have more access to technology, and this can only be done if the government allows these foreign Western countries to come in and set up data centers, set up infrastructures, set up companies, and let these technologies just flood in. I'm telling you, the young people are more than willing to take advantage of this. Young people are willing. We just need the government to let these foreign investors flood in with all the whole investments in like technology and all that.
Solomon, in just like 45 seconds, there's a difference between when you have the idea and there's a difference between when there's an enabling environment for that idea to thrive. Security is a major challenge in Nigeria at this particular point in time. How do we begin to tackle all of this if the ideas that we have, if the partnership that we have need to materialize into something very tangible for the youth of this nation to enjoy?
Right. In the sense of technology, I would say where we are as a nation needs to really, really, really improve and catch up to where the world is right now. So in technology as a whole, I think the military needs a lot of investment in understanding the whole technology because, there are some things that we're still catching up on. So in technology generally, and in 45 seconds, like you said, we just need more investment to invest in drones, satellites, to monitor and find all these banditries and all these things and be able to like combat them intelligently and with more modern techniques to get this out of the place and out of the picture for good.
Thank you very much, Solomon Soja. It's always nice to have you on the show. Thank you
very much.